In this series on the Psalms, we've been talking about joy and resting in God and Sabbath. One thing I've said each week, let you know that often instead of my sermon, I would like to just play a song for you and let that be the message for the day. Okay, in just a second, you guys are going to guess what the theme song for this week is. Think about it. Look at the sermon title. There's a clue. But before that, I'm going to tell you about another song. I had it in my head, this line from a Girl Scout song. And just these three words, let us rejoice, said exactly like that. Okay, I couldn't remember what song it was, and I thought maybe this will be helpful for my sermon. So I took to Google, and the song is about buzzards. Oh, Margot is nodding. She knew. Anybody else who knew? Bonus points. Anyway, so that's not very helpful. We're rejoicing because the buzzards returned. Okay, great. I guess, maybe. I don't know if we want buzzards or not. Okay, any other guesses about the actual theme song of the week? Celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on. Okay, yay. We're all in it, right? We're celebrating. Okay. Good job, good guesses. Maybe it was a little obvious from the sermon title. Yes, we're talking about celebrating because in this psalm, Psalm 118, we're hearing the people's joy. And that verse that we maybe know from being in church, maybe not, but this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, or we will celebrate it. Life sometimes doesn't feel like something worth celebrating. Kids love celebrating everything, right? Babies celebrate just looking at your face. But for us grown-ups, and maybe even our younger people when we're down, it can feel hard to celebrate. We may not notice all that there is to celebrate, take things for granted. In this psalm, they are celebrating all kinds of things. In Israel's memory, they remember God bringing them out of slavery in Egypt, leading them through the desert, providing them with food and water, manna in the wilderness, for bringing them back from exile out of Babylon. And interestingly, this psalm is quoted several times in the New Testament. You might have heard that verse, the stone the builders rejected has become the chief foundation or chief cornerstone. Early church found in this psalm a remembrance of Jesus and what Jesus has done for us. These are all great, big things to celebrate. And as a church, part of what we do each Sunday is celebrate God's work among us and Jesus' presence with us. Each Sunday is supposed to be a little Easter. We remember all that, and all of that is ours. But in our day-to-day lives, what about everything else that God gives to us, that God provides for us? There's a couple in, I think, Connecticut that for 30 years has been having firefly viewing parties at their house. Like some people here, they discovered that if you don't mow your lawn, if you let wildflowers grow, that wildlife will proliferate. You'll have bunnies and bugs and all that other stuff that Dr. Paul or Brian could tell us all about. And so in their yards, where they don't use pesticides, they have all kinds of fireflies. And people come and they watch them. Did you know there are different species of firefly? I did not know that. But now I do, and now you do. And taking the time to look at the fireflies has inspired other people to do similar things with their lawns. There are things worth celebrating, and there is beauty all around us. If you've ever thought about the joys of adulthood, it brings silly and little joys worth celebrating. Earlier this summer, I arrived at the Kroger gas station right after my gas light came on, which means that I got to use a whole $1 off on my whole tank of gas. This was very exciting. And I thought, this is what life has become at 34. But it was very exciting, right? Okay, other adulting awards, things we can celebrate. Getting out of bed, brushing our teeth, putting clothes on, going to work, going to school, doing your homework. Yay, we did it. We can celebrate all these little things. And why? Well, because when you think about it, I think there are, in fact, no small things in this world. If you think about everything that goes into, for example, your morning cup of coffee, it would astound you. Who in history found this plant and decided to put these beans in water and boil it and whatever, and how did they come upon coffee? I saw something else similar this week that said, what if we explode other foods like we do popcorn, right? Who thought to themselves, let's put corn in the fire and see what happens, and now we have popcorn. But aside from inventing it, there's a whole host of processes that go into getting popcorn, coffee, anything to you. The writer A.J. Jacobs spent a year trying to thank everyone who went into making his morning cup of coffee. He wrote a book about it, but a whole year, because if you were to look at any one thing in your life and try and trace it back to its source, even just your own body, think about all of the cells and processes and mechanisms that keep you alive without you even doing anything. It's amazing. There are no small things, I don't think. Just getting through the day, our coffee, popcorn, I love popcorn, by the way, ice cream, the cows, the farmers, the people who milked the cows or the machines, all of it. It's mind-boggling, right? Do you see what I mean? If you were to think about anything like in your life, your favorite thing, wow. And school is like that too. Education for our children. There's teachers, yes, but there's also the people who staff the cafeteria, the food in the cafeteria, bus drivers, mechanics, substitute teachers, principals, reading specialists, PE teachers, music teachers. Who else is at your school, Lydia? I don't even know. Janitors, yes, thank you. That is one I should obviously not forget. STEM, your STEM teacher, yes. Preschool teachers, daycare workers, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, tutors, after-school care providers. There's a whole web of community that makes it happen, and it is all wonderful and marvelous, even when it doesn't feel that way. There are no small things. There is much to celebrate. It's like communion, which we're celebrating today, the remembrance of Jesus' last dinner with his friends. It's not just bread and not just juice. It is a remembrance. It is a declaration of Jesus' presence with us, and it looks forward to the future. It's a little thing, but it is a big thing, and it connects us to all people of all times and places, all believers everywhere across the world. It's a little thing that's a big thing. There is much to celebrate. So I want to take a moment and ask you, what do you celebrate this day? Big things, little things, medium things, all the things, anything worth celebrating. Feel free to shout it out. Anybody got any celebrations? Family. Last night's rain. It rained last night? I missed that completely. There was another one. Birthdays. Christmas. Yep. Church family. Babies. Healthcare. Whew, yeah. Vacations. Celebrate. Yeah. Retirement. Oh, retirement. Yeah. Celebrate. Okay, I'm going to be singing that. Okay. Yes. This all reminds us, the point of all of this, there are no small things because all of life is a gift from God. And it is all bigger and more immeasurable than we can imagine. So, yes, let us be like the psalmist and rejoice. God's faithful love lasts forever, and this here is the day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Amen.